This garden barely cost me a penny, and if you have the space and a little bit of time, you could have something quite similar as well, or better. So the first thing you're going to realise in the garden is that it's covered in wood chip. So we bought this house 2 years ago, and the first thing, or one of the first things that we did, was laid cardboard down all over the grass in the previous lawn that we had, and then we got a hold of some wood chips. So wood chips can be acquired for free from tree surgeons. They have to pay to get rid of it, so they're more than happy to come and leave it in your property, so long as you don't mind digging and kind of throwing it all over the place. So some of the other things you might notice are this bench that was completely free, donated by a neighbour. We hit it with a power hose and it's looking a little bit better. And then we have each of our beds here. So these beds were really cheap. We got those in the auction for £20, I think, if I remember correctly, for all of them. And I have another couple on the side as well. Another way that you can save money is in filling your beds. So if you have a couple of pots, buying a bag of compost or two's not really a big deal. But when you've got this many beds, the cost can really add up quite quickly. So what we did is we had a family member that was building a property on a new site, and he had some topsoil that he needed to get rid of as well, otherwise he would have had to pay to dump it. So we got him to drop a trailer of that round, and that's what we used to begin filling our beds. Butters is eating the peas, I think. Butters, get off the peas. Now, instead of having to buy compost each year, an important thing to start is your own compost heap. So here we have a compost heap, once again, almost free, or I think it might have actually been free, and it's just simply made from a couple of pallets that are screwed together. And then in here we'll throw any of our green waste. Here you can see we've got some grass clippings. We've just topped that up. It's sat at about 20 degrees, so it's not quite warm yet. Next we have our planters, and you can see this tree is in one, and it's made out of half of a whiskey barrel. So the whiskey barrel was probably one of the more expensive things that we bought, and I say that, but it was only 40 quid if I remember correctly. And then what we did was just chopped it in half. So we've got half of it there and then half of it by the polytunnel. These arches were a simple Amazon kind of purchase, 15 quid or something for the two of them, I believe, or maybe a little bit more. But once again, it didn't cost an awful lot, and you could probably get a more cost-effective alternative. In the middle, we have our chimney planter full of strawberries, and again, this was out of a skip found on a building site. Didn't cost anything, looks great, and does a great job producing tons and tons of strawberries. Here's an example of a bed that you could make yourself. So this was just simply, again, a pallet that was then chopped up, and actually what I did was I pulled the nails out of the pallet and then straightened them out and hammered them straight back in. So this was free. Bit of spare paint that was left in the back of the shed by the previous owners, and that was it. Plus we have an unlimited supply of strawberries. We have another video on that if you would like to watch that. So the strawberry plants are once again essentially free. These grow bags are really quite cheap. You can buy them in a number of places, either online, but you can also find them in pound shops if you keep your eyes peeled. Next then is the polytunnel. So this is a 3 by 2.5, I believe, and this was from Amazon, and I think it cost £60 at the time. Now, the covers that you get on them are really quite crap, so we had to recover it this year, but it should last a couple of years now. The polytunnel cover itself was about 40 quid, and I got 14 meters of that. So once again, very cost effective. I can cover that probably one more time and have some more off-cuttings if I want to redo the door or something like that as well. While we're talking about reclaimed materials, here's an old washing machine, and we've turned that into a fire pit. All we needed to do was break it up with a hammer, take the barrel out of it, and then attach some legs with some heavy duty bolts. And it's been brilliant. It's lasted a few years now. It's been lit a ton of times, and yeah, it's performed very well. We'll have a look inside the polytunnel. I'll just show you my little handle there. So coming in here, this table here was found in a skip. This one was an old shoe rack that we had in the house that we no longer needed. And then here on these benches, what we've done is we've just got a couple of bricks, once again free, and then put a couple of the pallet crates that we've used as the garden beds, just to raise them off the ground and to stop the slugs from getting at them too much. But again, as you can see, a lot of reclaimed materials, a lot of cheap, a lot of free, a lot of DIY. The most expensive part of the garden was definitely the chicken coop. So we used all bought materials for this and did it right. We couldn't really risk having a cat get in or something worse, just for the sake of saving a couple of quid. So inside, this was the first chicken coop when we had our first 2 hens, and it was from Amazon, and I believe it was about £200, but don't quote me on it. This coop here was, once again, free. We got that off the person that we rescued the red hens from. Bought that in the auction, this barrel here, and it's watertight and weatherproof, and it's a great way to just store food for the chickens. I'm sorry chickens, but they're freaking out because when I open that up, that normally means that they get fed. In terms of the other material costs here, I think it came in and around about £100. The polycarbonate sheeting for the roof was free. That kind of top offcut was free. And then the most expensive parts, we're buying this kind of 2x1 lath here to the sides, and then the chicken wire itself. Once again, wood chips in there, completely free. And then the second barrel that we got on the auction in here with the little water cups on it. Those water cups cost £6 on Amazon, I believe, and I got 2 of those barrels in the auction for 12 quid. So the only real things now each year we need to spend money on are seeds and the odd bag of compost, mainly for the chicken or for the polytunnel. So there you go. That's just a little tour of my garden and just maybe some inspiration for some ways that you can reuse materials, find reclaimed materials, do a bit of skip diving and get something like this for very little cost. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions or if you have any ideas, feel free to leave a little comment underneath. Thank you.